Well, welcome to the 700 Club, and thanks so much for joining with us. Pope Leo XIV has begun his official duties as the new head of the Catholic Church, and he's already made history as the first American to serve as Pope.
The new Pope addressed Catholic cardinals today, saying, "You have called me to carry the cross and to be blessed." CBN's Brody Carter reports.
A rousing cheer from St. Peter's Square greeted the new pontiff as Catholic cardinals broke tradition and elected 69-year-old Robert Prevost, a Chicago-born missionary to Peru, as the first American pope.
Prevost was not the person we thought was going to be coming out on the balcony, so it was a big surprise.
In an interview on CBN's Faith Nation, Father Thomas Reese, a senior analyst with Religion Service, said Prevost spent 2 decades in Peru ministering in a diocese he would eventually lead, an experience that shaped his path to the papacy.
The Latin American cardinals seem to have liked him very much, so that they looked on him as one of their own, not a gringo. And I think their support was very decisive in electing him as Pope.
Prevost was brought to Rome in 2023 to lead the office that vets bishops worldwide, one of the most powerful roles in the Church. Now, as Pope Leo XIV, his priorities closely mirror Francis, blending social concern with theological tradition.
He will be totally in line with Pope Francis's concern about justice, peace, and protecting the environment. I think that's part of the DNA of the papacy today. So he's going to be very concerned about the plight of migrants, of refugees. He's going to be calling on people to pay attention to all the starving people in the world. And he's going to be very strong in speaking out for peace.
A message welcomed by many, even as it challenges others within the U.S. Church. The historic election of the first American pope sparked reactions across the globe, including questions about what his national origin might mean for the Vatican's global role.
We're leaning towards someone with a perspective from other parts of the world, and America certainly has a lot of power in the world, and I thought they might not want that concentration of power, but from everything I've heard, they've chosen a really good man who loves God and wants to do the right thing.
To see the news, was unexpected. I thought it was going to be a European or maybe someone else, but this is great news. He's young, he's 69, so hopefully he gives us some length and has a great run.
Pope Leo celebrated his first public mass today in the Sistine Chapel, with a media address scheduled Monday. And his first possible foreign trip could come later this month to Turkey, marking a key milestone in early Christian history, the 1700th anniversary of the First Council of Nicaea. I'm Brody Carter, CBN News.
Well, Terry, I've got to confess, I was very surprised that an American was selected.
They've said for years it'll never be an American. So I think even though he had a position that was powerful within the Vatican prior to this, I don't think anybody saw him. I didn't realize that somebody was just going to walk through the curtain and nobody knew who it was going to be.
Yeah, nobody on the other side of the curtain.
But there was something, as you watched the news, there was something about the swell of joy in the crowd that just kind of took you with it, you know?
Well, he spent 2 decades in Latin America. He certainly, a lot of the cardinals who were voting for him, he had a position to determine who that would be. But I would think after that long outside of the United States, he's become quite cross-cultural.
Yes.
And when you hear that he's mastered several languages and is quite fluent, is he more of a world citizen than an American?
I've also heard that he's a man of the word, and that's very encouraging for all of us, I think. And, you know, my husband's family's from Chicago, and so my text last night was, he's a Sox fan.
He's got to be a Cubbies fan.
No.
He's a Sox fan.
He's a Sox fan. Well, that's what they said.
That's
Sox
what they
fan
said?
From the South Side, so.
You got to be National League. You can't be American League. Well, anyway, congratulations to Pope Leo. It's absolutely amazing, and our prayers are with you.
Yes.
You've come into this position at a time of great turmoil in the world, and please bring a message of peace. Well, in none of the news, Israel is closing the United Nations schools, the UNRA schools, for Palestinian children that have anti-Israel classes. Ephraim Graham has that story and more from the CBN newsroom. Ephraim?
Gordon, those closings are part of Israel's ban on the United Nations Relief and Works Agency because of its ties to terrorist organizations like Hamas. CBN Middle East Bureau correspondent Julie Stahl brings us the story from Jerusalem.
Israel's crackdown on UNRA, working in the Jewish nation, now includes closing 6 schools in mostly Arab eastern Jerusalem. Students and teachers arrived Thursday to find the schools locked up for the foreseeable future.
When I hugged the teachers goodbye, I started crying because I didn't know which school I'd go to, where I would continue learning.
The United Nations Relief and Works Agency runs much of the education system for Palestinian children, but analysts in Israel say it's teaching those kids to be anti-Israel and pro-terrorist. David Bedin of the Center for Near East Policy Research has been exposing the Palestinian curriculum and UNRWA summer camps for decades. In an earlier interview with CBN News, he showed a page from a textbook UNRWA uses featuring a female terrorist.
This is Dalal al-Mughrabi, who murdered 36 Jews in a terror attack in 1978. And she's glorified in this book, and there's a whole curriculum for her, run by UNRWA.
Bedin says the curriculum is teaching the children to murder Jews and has 3 main points.
1, delegitimization of Israel's existence and the Israel's Jews' very presence in the country. 2, demonization of both Jews and Israelis. And 3, the absence of any call for peace.
Still, as Bedin also points out, UNRWA is still using the curriculum in schools in Bethlehem, Ramallah, and Hebron to carry out what he calls indoctrination for the next generation to war. The school closings in eastern Jerusalem come as new poll numbers from Palestinians show half of those who live in Gaza, more than 1 million, feel Hamas did the right thing, launching its October 7th massacre inside Israel. And 85% of the Palestinians in Judea and Samaria and 64% of those in Gaza are against disarming Hamas. And today, U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee announced a new U.S.-led plan to distribute humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza. He laid out 2 criteria.
The first is that food be distributed efficiently, but also that it's distributed safely inside Gaza to the people who desperately need it. The other factor, and this is an important one, that all of this be done in a way so that Hamas is not able to get their hands on it.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Here at home, a story very fitting for this Mother's Day coming Sunday. A chance encounter between a Virginia judge and a troubled boy set his life on a course he never imagined. Charlene Aaron talks with both that young man and the overwhelming impact of the moment.
Dante Wright grew up in Surry County, Virginia, to parents who didn't finish high school. In 1997, at 4 years old, he and his older brother Leon almost literally bumped into a woman who then took a special interest in them.
My brother took my bicycle and ran into the street, and I chased after him, and her vehicle happened to be coming by at the same time. She stops in the street, puts us back into the yard, and goes to my mom and says, "Hey, your kid's out here in the street. This is very dangerous."
That woman happened to be General District Court Judge Gamil Poindexter.
They were in the middle of the road. And so, you play this, you got to figure out how to do that, get the car stopped, shoo the kids off the road. And then I turned around and went into the house and met their mother.
Judge Poindexter and her husband Gerald, an attorney, had already raised 2 sons, also attorneys. For some reason, though, she felt compelled to build a bond with Wright and his family.
Weekends, we would do things together, and I would take them to football games.
As time went on, family legal problems caused Child Protective Services to become involved, which led to Wright and his siblings being moved around for years. Judge Poindexter eventually lost contact with him. She later learned about the family's situation after Wright entered high school and arranged to take him into her home.
I don't know if people know, in particular black boys, 15, people don't take them into homes. They have to end up in shelters, group home. And so much can happen there. And so my husband and I said, no, he's too good for that. He needs something. He needs the best that he can get.
Wright thrived living with the Poindexters, graduating from high school with honors and earning an academic scholarship to Virginia State University. His next move followed a familiar path.
I think I was planting a seed for law school. So he did criminal justice, and he did very well. And by the time he finished that, he said, "I'm ready, I'm going to law school."
In 2018, Wright graduated with honors from North Carolina Central's School of Law and passed the District of Columbia bar examination on his first attempt, something he saw as impossible.
I thought for certain I was going to fail the bar exam. Because again, you think that at some point, right, your luck is going to run out.
Judge Poindexter served in the courts until her retirement in 2007. At Wright's urging, she reconsidered retirement. And today, they're law partners at Poindexter & Wright in Smithfield, Virginia. Wright credits his success to Poindexter, whom he often refers to as Mom, a woman who took a chance on him that paid off in the end.
It's just who she is. There's no real reason for it, and sometimes you can't explain everything. Life occurs, and perhaps that's divine intervention.
He was a very special child.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News, Smithfield, Virginia.
A mom by choice. What a beautiful story, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Gordon?
Yeah, what a great way to celebrate Mother's Day. But realize that you can do this too. One of my prayers is, Lord, show me who I can help. And when you do that and your eyes are open to it, he'll tell you people that you can come alongside and you can give them a hand up, you can give them mentorship, you can help them along the way. And in that process, you'll find great joy too. It's a wonderful thing to do. And it's all part of what Jesus asks us to do, which is go and make disciples. That's living with people, sharing meals with them, sharing life with them, but most importantly, showing them the way. And when you do, the rewards are eternal.